For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nikki Gray. I'm the Executive Director of the Medicine Hat, or the Community Foundation of Medicine Hat in Southeastern Alberta. Thank you all for coming. So this is our 2023 Vital Signs Report launch event. We haven't done a full Vital Signs publication since 2017. We do a vital event of some sort each year, but this one looks a little bit different. We're thrilled to have you join us and to hear a little bit about the up-to-date Vital Signs Report, to listen to some impactful speakers offering their expertise for some of the most critical issues addressed in the report, and to ignite conversations regarding opportunities and solutions across Southeast Alberta. In the spirit of respect, truth, and reciprocity, we acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional elders, knowledge keepers who are still with us today, and for those who have gone before us. Thank you. CFSEA, or the Community Foundation, is one of 205 community foundations across the country. Our mission in Medicine Hat in Southeast Alberta is to create meaningful connections between donors and local charities for the benefit of Southeastern Alberta. Donations to a community foundation are never spent. They are prudently invested for the benefit of generations to come. Each year, that investment income is distributed to a wide range of charities across the region according to our donors' wishes. Last year, we distributed over $1.1 million. In addition to endowment building and grant making, our other primary role, as to why you are here today, is to gather information and create opportunities for all sectors to work together for the greater good. Periodically, we release a Vital Signs publication that reports data and stories on significant issues. This year, our Vital event, we are hosting a full publication report. This report is data heavy and designed to spark dialogue around significant issues, opportunities, and solutions for all of Southeast Alberta. This work would not have been made possible without our community partners who came together to make this happen. Thank you to the many charitable and municipal organizations who helped us gather up-to-date data, to the CFSEA Vital Signs Committee, who spent countless hours reviewing and analyzing data, statistics, and everything we threw in front of them. We also want to extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who provided additional data, took part in our survey, and to our incredible donors whose generosity made this report and events possible. Please join me in thanking the following sponsors: Interstar Solutions, Leith Wheeler Investment Council, Global Philanthropic Canada, Methanex, MNP, Pattison Media, and McNally's Tap House in the Beverage Building. Thank you is such a small word for such a huge sentiment. I would like to thank the CFSEA staff for all of the time and dedication that they put into this project and event today. Lauren Friesen, our Vital Signs Research and Project Coordinator, maybe just like give Bailey, Bailey Richardson, our Administrative Coordinator. Barbara Kenworthy, who's our Finance Administrator, who reluctantly stayed home because she's sick. She was quite upset about it. Helen Nicholson, our Regional Development Coordinator. Nicole Nicholson, Community Fund Coordinator for Brooks in the County of Knoll. And finally, I would like to invite up and thank the following dignitaries for attending today's event. Your Worship, Mayor Lindsay Clark. Yeah. Do you want to speak? Come on up. I'd like to thank you for coming, but you're also welcome to come up.
Thank you, Nikki. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I want to thank the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta for assembling the Vital Signs report and hosting this important community conversation. These discussions serve as the foundation for understanding the unique needs, concerns, and aspirations of our community members. And your organization's work empowers individuals to voice their perspectives, share their experiences, and contribute to the collective knowledge that drives meaningful change. If we want to improve the health and well-being of our region, we need to understand where we stand. By looking at key data and trends, we can gain a better understanding of the challenges we face and the opportunities that lie before us. Vital Signs can help us do that. Over the past few years, as we all know, our community has faced increasing challenges around mental health, addiction, access to affordable and attainable housing, access to family doctors, rising cost of living, and more. The City Council has brought these issues to the forefront in our strategic plan, and we've identified a number of initiatives designed to support a healthy, sustainable community. Some are small and some are large, but the hope is that they all collectively make an impact together with the work, programs, and services of our community partners and other levels of government. Some examples include the Community Microgrants program launched earlier this year. This program offers funding of up to $500 to encourage residents to organize activities and events that strengthen bonds within their community and neighborhood, or the addition of the Fair Entry transit to the Fair Entry program. The city also recently submitted a grant application to the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund, which would support an additional 350 homes over the next 3 years. Hi. We expect to hear back on that application in the very near future. In 2024, we will implement our Rural Renewal Program, an initiative supported by the province of Alberta that empowers rural communities to attract, recruit, screen, and retain newcomers who intend to live, work, and settle in our communities. And a community well-being plan is under development. This long-term plan will lay the framework for priorities and actions that support well-being, including identifying the factors and conditions that impact well-being in Medicine Hat, and the priority areas for improvement based on current and anticipated community needs. And anticipating community needs is a very tricky thing these days. The work of City Council is just one component of building a healthy community, and none of our efforts are successful when we work alone. Collaboration between diverse stakeholders from local governments and healthcare providers to our grassroots organizations and residents is key and helps ensure that the policies and programs align with the real needs of our community. The challenges we are working to address are not unique to our community, but our approach to them can be. When I look around this room today, I see a group of people that care about the health and well-being of our region and everyone that lives within it. People that want to do more than just identify problems. Collectively, we can co-create solutions and innovate strategies to enhance the overall quality of life for everyone in our community. Today, I'm looking forward to hearing more about the insights gleaned from the Vital Signs report, as well as the opportunity to delve into discussions with all of you. This is the beginning of a conversation that can inspire collaborative action to build a healthier, more resilient, more thriving region where well-being and quality of life of all residents are central to the shared vision of progress and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. I saved one staff member for the dignitary section, Sydney Ratzlaff, our Community Engagement Coordinator. Mayor Clark, I'm so excited about the Rural Renewal Stream and what that might mean for our rural communities that Community Foundation serves as well, so thank you for mentioning that. I'm pleased to welcome Constituency Manager Terry Ann Boyer on behalf of MLA for Cypress Medicine Hat, Mr. Justin Wright.
I look like Justin, don't you think? It's an immense privilege to speak to you on behalf of MLA Justin Wright and to the Community Foundation of Southern Alberta. MLA Wright wants to extend his greetings and appreciation to all of you. So I quote, "Good afternoon. On behalf of Cypress Medicine Hat constituency and the Government of Alberta, I want to express gratitude and acknowledge the hardworking staff, devoted volunteers, and generous donors for launching another Vital Signs report. This is a remarkable and excellent way to promote and showcase southeastern Alberta. Your remarkable work within our community is highly appreciated, and I want to emphasize the significance of your mission, vision, and values to us all. The Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta has a crucial role in our community by supporting not only the local but different regions within southeastern Alberta, namely Cypress County, Special Areas 2, 3, the MD of Acadia, and the County of 40 Mile. Your impact is growing significantly every day, and it does not go unnoticed. Thank you once again for your dedication to understanding the needs of southeastern Alberta, and I hope today's events will foster many productive conversations." End quote.
Try to juggle here. Sorry. Hello, thank you for the nice words there, Mayor Clark and Ms. Boyer, speaking on behalf of MLA Wright. My name is Josh Hudson. I serve on the board of the Community Foundation, and I'm also the chair of the Community Leadership Committee, and I got the privilege of being part of the Vital Signs Project team this year. We're going to start off each year in conjunction with the Vital Signs event. The Community Foundation offers 2 Vital People Awards. The Vital People Award aims to acknowledge, recognize, and encourage the staff working in frontline, program delivery, coordination, or junior management positions for local charities. Charities operating in the non-for-profit sector are key to the vitality of southeastern Alberta. The effectiveness and efficiencies of these organizations are highly dependent on the dedication, skill, and talent of the staff that they employ. The Vital People program offers 2 $500 awards to assist with the training or skill development of the individuals selected. Managers or board members of any charity within southeastern Alberta are welcome to nominate an employee for this award. The Community Leadership Committee received and evaluated applications based on their years of service, professional development goals, and impact stories. And I will say there was some pretty impressive impact stories this year too. I was part of the evaluation for that. Joining us here today are the 2023 Vital People Award recipients, Danielle Sani with the YMCA of Medicine Hat and Shonda Wood with the Newell Housing Foundation. So Sharon Hayward, the CEO of the Medicine Hat YMCA, nominated Danielle Sani. Danielle has been working at the YMCA for 7 years and is currently the aquatics program supervisor. Danielle has taught well over 300 children and adults how to swim and instructed hundreds of people in first aid and national life-saving courses. This essential life skill is something Danielle is passionate about, and she enjoys sharing that passion with her community. With this award, Danielle plans to grow her managerial skills, specifically learning more about values-based leadership styles and how to lead a team using a coaching mindset. Danielle, would you please come up and accept your award? Oh, wait. We have, oh yeah, right here, our professional photographer. Thank you, Danielle. Okay, still on. The second award goes to Shonda Wood, who is nominated by Sasha Lowen, CAO with the Newell Housing Foundation. Shonda has almost 3 years of experience as an administrative assistant with the Newell Housing Foundation. Shonda has been described as someone who pours herself into her role completely and goes above and beyond each and every day. Shonda has an infectious enthusiasm and positive energy that inspires others to participate and contribute to the vibrancy of their community. Shonda plans to use the Vital People Award for courses geared towards seniors housing through the Alberta Seniors and Community Housing Association and Red Deer Polytechnic courses. Shonda, would you please come up and accept your award? Congratulations to you both. All right, now we need to shift gears, and I want to share some background with you on Vital Signs and why we take part in this program. Vital Signs is a national program led by local community foundations and coordinated by Community Foundations of Canada. Each year, CFSEA, that's the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta, right up there, acronym, hosts a Vital event, which is a periodic checkup that measures the vitality of our community and identifies significant trends in a range of areas critical to our quality of life. The data gathered helps to determine CFSEA's annual granting priorities. Additionally, Vital Signs reports are used by residents, businesses, community organizations, universities and colleges, and government leaders to take action and direct resources where they will have the greatest impact. We hope that this report sparks dialogue and action towards discovering potential solutions to these issue areas. By exploring each of these areas, we hope to gain a better understanding of the challenges and opportunities that exist within our communities so that we can work together to create solutions that will lead to a more vibrant and prosperous future for Southeastern Alberta. Please join me in welcoming Lauren Friesen, Vital Signs Research and Project Coordinator with the Community Foundation, to share about the 2023 Vital Signs Report.
All right, so hello everyone, I'm Lauren Friesen. Like Josh said, the Vital Signs Research and Project Coordinator at the Community Foundation. I had the pleasure of working on this project from start to finish, and I'm pleased to finally be able to share it with you all today. One of the key goals of the Vital Signs Report is to enhance the understanding of local needs and priority areas requiring action and attention both for the Community Foundation and the broader community. This year is the first that we began to shed light on this distinct needs within our rural communities, and while we acknowledge that there may be gaps in rural data, we envision this report as a catalyst for the years ahead. We encourage everyone to join us in future Vital conversations where we will delve even deeper into our small communities by encouraging dialogue around the insights from this report to chart our course of action for the years ahead. As you will find throughout this report and on your tables, we have included questions. We kindly request that you set aside a moment to reflect on these questions or discuss them with others, as this will foster meaningful dialogue aligning with this report's purpose. I would also like to thank our Vital Signs Committee for their contribution to the 2023 Vital Signs Report. I will ask those of you who can make it here today to stand as I call your name. Amy Richardson, Carla Spampanato, Chelsea Erisman, Frances Barnes, Hannah Miner, Jennifer Ma, Jim MacArthur, Josh Hudson, Karen Blewett, Lance Dahl, Nikki Kay, Tristan Cole, Vanessa Anstey, Yusuf Mohammed, and I would also like to express my gratitude for all of those who took part and shared our Vital Signs community survey. Your voice holds a significant value in driving change and is never overlooked. The most impactful changes will emerge through meaningful and inclusive engagement within our communities. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. And I see all of you flipping through your reports right now, or many of you, and you can largely thank Lauren for how amazing they look. She did a really fantastic job. So please join me now in welcoming Shonda Dickey with the City of Medicine Hat's Family and Community Support Services. Shonda will be sharing insight into 2 issue areas, connection and belonging, as well as creative and active living. Shonda?
Hello. I'm so excited to talk about connection and belonging. I really feel strongly that everyone needs that sense of connection and belonging in our community. But I only have 8 minutes, so I can't tell you about all the things that I believe. So I'm going to talk specifically about our Family and Community Support Services program, so that's FCSS. Did you know that 99% of Albertans that live in a municipality, town, or hamlet, or a Métis settlement where FCSS program is ready to provide preventative social programming to them. So that's almost every community in our province that receives this funding. Since 1966, the government of Alberta, together with participating Métis settlements and municipalities, has jointly funded preventative social services in Alberta through our FCSS programming. So how it works is that the province contributes 80% of the funding, and the municipality or the town or hamlet contributes an additional 20% towards the programming. And it's based on our community's population, so however many people live in our community, there's a formula for how much money that we receive. The FCSS received its mandate from Family and Community Support Services Act and the Family and Community Support Service Regulations. So we have very specific regulations on how we distribute this money or how we use the money in our community. So examples of eligible or ineligible programs and services. So services under FCSS must be preventative in nature, and some initiatives include things like helping community members identify their social needs and developing responses, promoting, encouraging, and supporting volunteer work in our community, because we know how important that is. Inform the public about services, so that could be education or awareness programs or supports, supporting children and family with their social development needs, helping families enrich and strengthen the family life and function more effectively in their own environment, and enhancing retired and semi-retired people's quality of life. So one of the great things I think about FCSS is that we don't just receive money and say we're doing these programs in our community. We also are responsible to report back on the success of our programs. So we have very specific KPIs, key performance indicators that the province requires from us. And as a municipality, we distribute that funding, and we also use some of the funding, and everyone that we distribute funding to is required to report back on how this program is making a difference in their community on specific outcomes. The province has also identified prevention strategies, and the current prevention strategies are to promote and encourage active engagement in the community, so thinking about sense of belonging and connection, fostering a sense of belonging, promoting social inclusion, developing and maintaining healthy relationships, enhancing access to social supports, and developing and strengthening skills that build resilience. So those are all very, very important to creating a sense of belonging in our communities, and one of the reasons why FCSS is so essential in every community. Services funded under FCSS must be preventative, as I said, and must do one or more of the following. So they have to help to develop independent strength and coping skills and help people to become more resistant to crisis, because we know people can get into a crisis, but as a prevention program, we want to help people develop those skills to help them to prevent crisis in the future, or at least to know how to deal with that crisis when it comes next time. We want to help people to develop an awareness of social issues. So again, this is educational awareness. Sometimes it's community needs assessment. So one of the things the city is doing right now, as the mayor mentioned, is our community well-being strategy or plan. And this is helping us to develop an awareness of our social issues and identify what those are. How do we address them in our community with all of our partners? And what does that look like? Also help people to develop interpersonal and group skills, which enhance constructive relationships among people. So how do we work together in our relationships, and how do we do that better? Help people and communities to assume responsibilities for decisions and actions which affect them. Getting the community involved. There's nothing like a sense of community and sense of belonging when you involve the people in your community in those decisions and what's affecting them. And so that's really a big piece of FCSS, is looking at that community based assets development and getting people involved in solutions that affect them. Providing supports that help sustain people as active participants in the community. Again, being active, being involved in your community, you're not going to feel more like you belong in a community as you're helping to make decisions that affect you. So we have a number of communities in Southeast Alberta that receive FCSS funding, and the one super great thing about FCSS funding is every community has the autonomy to decide where to spend their funding. So we can spend it internally in some of our programming or externally in the form of grants. So we have 5 different regions in Southeastern Alberta that have directors for FCSS. So the City of Medicine Hat, that would be myself, director. The Town of Redcliffe, and that is Carla, and Carla is not here today. County of 40 Mile, and my colleague that is sitting right over there, Karina, thanks for coming. And Cypress County as well, and Grasslands region, so that's Brooks and surrounding area. And each one of these regions gives their money out in different ways or uses the funding in different ways. So for us internally, awareness activities, community capacity building. So we talked about our neighborhood association or our neighborhood micro grants, and that's part of FCSS is trying to develop those communities and engaging people, information and referral services in our community well-being plan. But then we also distribute funding externally through community partners, through grants that we hold for short-term counseling, volunteerism, senior support services, Meals on Wheels, life skills, supports to poverty prevention and social isolation, and intergenerational programming. So that's just like a little snippet of what Medicine Hat does. I have no idea if I'm getting close to time, but someone can tell me. For the County of 40 Mile, they do library story time, play groups, youth volunteer support, community events, operations with our family and community center, informal referrals and assistance with forums, and collaborating regionally. And they also have some external funding for play groups, community events, counseling, and family school liaison worker. So it's just an example. I have other regions, like I said, that have some examples as well, but I'll stick to that. So just one final note, so our FCSS directors meet regularly to address evolving needs, emerging issues, and current trends, as well as to brainstorm ideas for programs and solutions. So we work really well together across the province and also in our region down here. We take various FCSS initiatives take various forms. They may not always carry a distinctive FCSS label. So the next time you encounter a preventative program in your community, or you see one in a small community, it's very likely that they received support from FCSS because they're very integral into all the social programming that happens in our community and to our sense of connection and belonging. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna, for sharing the role of family and community support services and community development. It's really good work. So next up, we have Franco Savoia joining us today from the Living Wage Network. Most of you will notice there's a lot of information about living wage on, I think, page 10 of your report. If you want to check, I'm sure you'll probably reference some of that. Franco will be sharing insights on the living wage in Medicine Hat.
Thank you very, very much, Josh. Sean, it's good to see you. We see each other on, and actually 3D. We do exist in 3D, so we watch each other in Zoom at our monthly meetings of the Alberta Poverty Reduction Network. Mayor Clark, honored guests and supporters of this wonderful foundation, I am absolutely delighted to be here on behalf of the Council. We're beginning year 3 of the Council. It's one of the best collaboratives I've ever, tell by my gray hair, I've been a part of a lot of collaboratives over the years. This is the best one I've ever been part of. Albertans coming together for the first time in a real way to deal with folks that are working, employed, but living in poverty. That is what the living wage is all about. And so the thing that we need to kind of really discover, because it doesn't matter where you are, we do have a minimum wage. And many in the community confuse that with a living wage. It is not. Anyone in this province that's earning $15 an hour, or if you're a student, $13 an hour, that's what it's been for quite a while, 6 or 7 years now, you basically have to go either to a social agency, family, or both to meet all of your basic needs. And that's a fact. What the living wage is all about is that it didn't start here. The UK has been at it for the United Kingdom for a long time. Ontario, BC, here in Alberta, this will be the third year we've started. 5 municipalities and organizations 3 years ago, we now are up to 20. Absolutely delighted that Medicine Hat and Brooks are around the table, because you're bringing that voice around this conversation, really urgently needed. Now, we're not legislators, unfortunately, so we can't legislate a living wage. We have to do it through moral suasion. Business people, organizations, together, working together. So here, if you notice in your report, your Medicine Hat was $17.50 last year. By the way, the lowest in the province last year, which is a good thing, actually, if you're an employer and so on like that. But when you do look at the 20 across the province, Canmore is twice that. So if in fact you're an employer in Canmore and you're making less than about $35 an hour, an employee, I'm describing what you'll need for your basic needs. And basic needs, by the way, doesn't mean you're putting money in the bank. All it means is that there's some dignity, that you're able to meet your basic needs. So to do that, the network does 2 things every year. One is to do the calculation. I'm old enough to know that we used to do our own, I would go all over the place, and that created all kinds of misunderstandings. So about 3-4 years ago, we developed a common calculator. But this is done locally. There's some data that comes nationally through, say, Central Mortgage and Housing. There's some data that comes through for food. For example, Alberta Health Services, using the Alberta Food Guide, actually provides what it would cost to feed a family of 4, a single family, or an individual in this city or in Brooks on an annual basis. So that's how the calculation gets done. Then we sit down with people here and saying, let's look at other things, maybe going for childcare, for example. Those other kinds of things. And all this gets put into a basket, and it gets worked out to, at 36.5 hours, what the hourly wage would be. That's literally how simple it is. Here, I think, as we already mentioned, you are one of the lowest. Now, we do the calculation, we're just about finalizing, and I can't really tell you because we're just finalizing, which will be released in the Living Wage Network week, which is the 2nd week of November. November the 8th will be released. It'll be on our website. There'll be some press releases and that kind of thing. Ontario will do it at that time. BC will do it at that time, because we're trying to get some mileage on this, to be very honest, with the federal government and other national jurisdictions that can have an impact on this. So that kind of is where we're at. Here, I think, when you look at your costs here, we know that housing is a huge issue right now, right across this province. We could not get data until January. So, but the other thing that happened this past year, the affordability. Some families got $1,300. Like, there's a bunch of benefits one time. While we're doing this, you cannot do this calculation, not put them in, because this is real income that came into people's pockets. So there is a bunch of things. The enhanced child benefit federally went up 6%. Well, all of these things contribute to reducing it for the employer, because it becomes income for you, and it's a big deal. The Alberta Child Benefit is another one. Now, that's not new. It took us a long time in this province to get that in place, let me tell you, 20 years, but in 2015 we made it a reality. For working families with young children, it's a huge benefit. Now, one of the things we've had to do in the last 2 or 3 years, we realized that traditionally the calculation was a family of 4, mom and dad and 2 children. Well, we know that when it comes to this, that's not the fact. So now we do 3 calculations and mush them in a priority way based on every community to say how many single parents, families, how many singles, and how many 4-person family there is. And that gives us a number. The thing to kind of, as we look at these numbers, is not to take it so precisely. These are kind of almost like gives you an idea of what it should be. And then with that, you can have a conversation. It's already been discussed. We need to discuss about this more. I worked in the social sector all my life. I sat with my YMCA friends. Guys, I spent 4 decades. Some of them, most of them were never even born when I left the Y, never mind when I, anyhow. But I worked for the YMCA in different communities. This is a challenge to everybody, not just to the businesses, but the social sector as well. The challenge is this: if you have someone earning a minimum wage on your staff, this is hard. That staff person is subsidizing your business. That's a fact. Yes, you give them a job, but they are subsidizing your business. And this is tough for me to say, because let me tell you, 15 years ago, as a CEO of a YMCA, I said that's all I could do, because I had people that were earning the minimum wage back then. I don't accept it, because I've now talked to living wage employers, and they show me how you can do it. You look at your business model, you do it over time, and you know what? Turnover rates, all of those things. They do it because it's the right way to run a business, not because it's a nice thing to do for people. This is the best way to run a business. So I think for all of us here, I think you've got a wonderful community medicine in Brooks in southeastern Alberta. You've got a terrific foundation. I think together, we got to work at this. To have working poor in this province is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I refuse to accept it as an Albertan. And I'm going to work damn hard as long as I can to make sure we do that. So that I really end with 3 asks for you to think about. One is, thank you to the foundation, and hopefully you continue to support, because the 3 foundations that made this possible. This foundation, the Edmonton Foundation, and the Calgary Foundation. Thank you to community foundations for getting this network and allowing it to do its work. Really, really powerful. So thank you for that. And hope we, and together as communities, we continue to support that. I just absolutely get the 3 representatives around the council table when we meet once a month. Just great. The second ask is, if you're an employer and you've got staff that are working at a minimum wage, I ask you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do about this? The quick answer is I can't do anything about it. Don't believe it. I wish I could go back and talk to my younger self, because I think I could have done it. It wouldn't have done it in 1 week. But over a 3 or 5 year period, review your business model, and you'll pay people, you'll be able to do that. And everything changes for your business. It's going to be much more sustainable than it ever was. So this is not just a nice thing to do for people. It's the best way to run a business. The last thing is, we're all shoppers. Go to employers and workplaces that pay a living wage. That's a great way to do it. And it tells us that this is what we support as a community. We don't want people that are working poor. In this province, everyone that works can make a living wage. Thank you.
Thank you, Franco, for that wonderful insight on the Living Wage Network. Now I'd like to welcome up Brianne Millen with the Canadian Mental Health Association. Brianne is a suicide prevention program manager and will be sharing her insight on mental health in our community.
So for those of you in this room who know me, you will know that I am and always have been a bit of a storyteller. It's kind of where I thrive, sharing stories, sharing experiences. When I was thinking about what I was going to say here today, a story kept coming into my head. It's an experience I had over the course of the last year. I'm going to share a little bit of that with you right now. It's a phone call. And I don't want to go to a group, the woman said to me during this phone call. She'd reached out to me about the very recent suicide loss of her only child, and the grief was thick within her words. I'd offered her supports as best as I possibly could, but what I had to offer was not what she really needed, and she let me know it. I asked her then what would happen or what would help the most at this point in time. In my mind, I was already thinking, oh my gosh, I have nothing to offer this person. Then she said, I just want to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and talk with someone who's been through this before. I want to know that I'm going to make it through because somebody else already has. Okay, deep breath. I was stunned into a little bit of silence, scrambling inside my head, trying to think of where I could send this person until it came to me. I connected her with Canadian Mental Health Association's in-house Caregiver Connections program. Though in theory, it didn't necessarily make sense because her time of being a caregiver to somebody with a mental health problem was now over. Still, she needed support, and the program is designed to provide exactly that by tapping into a valuable resource that exists within our community: peers. People with lived experience of mental health problems, substance use problems, and suicide loss, but also lived experience with recovery, resiliency, change, and growth. Peer support workers are trained individuals who share knowledge and personal experiences, something that a counselor or medical professional might not be able to do within the scope of their practice. From sharing coping strategies to helping to navigate the mental health system, the relationship between an individual and their peer supporter is one that is obviously supportive, but also very encouraging. Peer support considers the wellness of the whole person and focuses in on health and recovery rather than illness and disability in order to assist people in creating their own path to recovery. The relationship forged between the peer supporter and the person with a mental health problem or illness can help improve quality of life as well as reduce the need for hospitalization. These initiatives have the potential to connect families of people with mental health problems or illnesses, allowing them to share their understanding of the mental health system, which can in turn improve their ability to care for their loved ones or themselves. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to peer support. It can take many different forms and be offered wherever people work, wherever they live, within organizations, workplaces, schools, or healthcare settings. Peer support is intended to complement traditional clinical care and vice versa, not to replace it outright. There are a wide variety of programs within the Medicine Hat area that rely on peer supporters doing the work that they do. One such program that we run is called Recovery College. The Recovery College is an educational program designed to help individuals build wellness, resourcefulness, and resiliency into their own lives. It's designed as a set of free courses that anyone can take advantage of. Recovery College thrives because it pairs a trained mental health facilitator with a peer support. Together, these individuals educate and connect with participants from their unique lenses to offer a well-rounded view of whatever topic is being discussed. Another program that CMHA is embarking upon is called Skills for Safer Living. This program is intended for youth who have experienced a suicide attempt along with their caregivers and is designed to help participants build practical skills that they can use in their day-to-day life. This program is once again run by a trained mental health professional and a trained peer who can speak from the experience that they have experienced. Then there's the Campus Peer Support Program, and I see some people from the Medicine Hat College are here. The Campus Peer Support Program is a partnership between CMHA and Medicine Hat College. It provides trained student peers within the campus, which is really cool because who better to understand a student stress? Who better to understand a stressed out student than a student who's been there before, right? Though we've moved away from the pandemic, the effects of it still linger for some of us, perhaps for a lot of us. We can see that looking at the numbers within the vital signs. Our tolerances have withered, Our anxieties are like sky high standing on a stage right now. Our worries persist, and they extend beyond us into the people that we love and support. Peer support's not a cure for that. Sorry to say it. Peer support won't make the long wait times to see a doctor go away. It won't bring new doctors into the community, and it won't open up new beds in the hospital. But it is a valuable support. It's not intended to do anything but be that. It's a cup of coffee with somebody who just needs it when you need to know that you're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Brianne, for sharing your insight on mental health. Next up, I would like to welcome Corinna Roth-Beacom from 40 Mile FCSS. She will be sharing some insight, a bit about her work done with the FCSS as well as Verge Economics, and yeah, welcome up.
So if you like what I have to say today, I'm Corinna Roth-Beacom. If you don't like what I have to say today, I'm Teresa Hardiker, because that's who was supposed to be on stage and that's who I'm replacing. So give all your negative comments that way, but I will take as much praise as possible. So Teresa wishes that she could be here with you today, but she has had a medical issue, so she is at home recovering. We would just like to say thank you to the Community Foundation for inviting us to speak today on economy. Now, those of you that might know me, I'm from the social service world. So for me to sit there and talk to you about economy from a social service perspective does present some challenges. So I am that burr in their side when I sit at their tables, because I like to bring the social impact. When you talk about bringing businesses into your community, when you talk about expanding or attracting, and I'm like, that's great, that's wonderful, but have you thought about, do we have housing? Do we have daycare? Do we have what supports parents when they bring children that have special needs? Do we have, systems to support one-parent families? And from a rural perspective, that presents some challenges. So I think economic development is wonderful and it's great and we need it, but we also need to challenge those people that are at the table building those programs, bringing those people to consider what that looks like. It also presents some unique business or entrepreneurial opportunities for individuals that may be in some of those social sector fields to come out and do that rural renewal. So I'm excited for those things, which is why I ended up in the Verge world of economic development. Teresa was sitting at a table talking about doing some studies and doing some surveys, and I'm like, well, how about if we throw into that a little bit of social service? So that is how we came as a collaborative partner to the table with Verge, along with Cypress County, because usually when I do these things, I like to pull other people I know along with me and maybe guilt them sometimes into feeling like they should be at the table. So Cypress County is like, okay, we'll give some money if Corinna will leave us alone. So that's kind of how they came into the Verge world of doing this. And we were able to collaborate and get another grant from the government of Alberta, which built on the initial study that Brood had done, and which some of that has shown up in the vital signs report. Part of that was also establishing a steering committee to talk about what is needed for economic growth in rural or southeastern Alberta. What are some of the drivers? What are some of the things that we should be looking at? So we had called a steering table of individuals together, which ended up being all females who ruled the world. So we did attempt to reach out to the male-dominated area and we ended up with all of the female staff. So we drove the steering committee, and we did have individuals from the Community Foundation at that time in our rural area. It was Sarah Weatherhead who sat at our table, and some people, Safety Buzz, Deerview Meats, some of those other areas, some business, so that we could have a well-rounded look at what the survey needed to do. And what we learned from that is that we know that agriculture in the southeastern area is a large driver of economic development. But we also learned that that's what's driving some of our small businesses. And so the highlights from vital signs is that 96.6% of all businesses in our region are small businesses. They're the mom and pops. They're the ones that are keeping our communities going, driving. Talk about a living wage, that are trying to support other families coming in and trying to look at bringing in some of the immigrant workers and how do they best go about supporting that. And they have a lack of knowledge and a lack of understanding and are looking for information. So I think that, we are on a really good trend to see how we can grow some of our rural communities, which in turn feed up and support the city of Medicine Hat and, where that drives their economic development. I think we all support one another in that. Some of the highlights from our survey was just that retirements are expected to impact 30 positions in the next 3 years in our region. There's a lot of farm families, large farm families, that are looking to retire out, may not have, the children taking over, and they're like, what do we do with this? So it's that succession planning. A lot of our small businesses are facing the same thing. What does that look like? I had talked at a table just last week around economic development about in our rural foremost area. We have a grocery store that closed. We need groceries. So our community is suffering. So what does that look like to bring a family in and support them to get that business going? We have a hardware store that is he's wanting to retire out. Who takes that over? So we have to get creative about what that looks like. Half of the businesses surveyed are expected to grow and expand their workforce in the next 3 years. The majority of the small business are struggling to fill labor positions. We get that all the time. We have the jobs. We've got no people to fill those jobs. So whether it's in the city or the rural, we're all kind of facing that. We're all facing the housing crisis. In our rural community, it looks no different. It probably is a larger of an impact. We may have homes for sale, but they're not for rent. And many of the families coming in that are working those minimum wage jobs do not have the income by which to buy the 5-bedroom homes that are for sale, whether it's, people think it's a good deal, they just don't have the money. So we're struggling. How do we support those families? One of the other areas that we have a lack of availability is daycare. We have no licensed daycare services in our area. That impacts the labor force hugely. So all of that wonderful daycare dollars that are out there, $25, $10, we cannot access that. So our families are struggling. It's private daycare that charges what they want to charge, do want to become licensed. And so we struggle at what that looks like. So those are the challenges I bring to economic development when they think, oh, this project is great, let's bring all these people in. I'm like, but. So, I come at the table with, if we're gonna have a problem, we need to have a solution. So sometimes we need to think outside of the box. So those are some of the things that we're facing, and Teresa had wanted me to add to that as well. You all have a wonderful internet service in your city. I can promise you we do not have the same in our rural communities. You go south of the village of Foremost and good luck. So the online schooling that was happening for a lot of those families and a lot of that piece, they aren't able to connect, or they would get on and they'd be lost, and it's very frustrating. So that whole virtual world that we say is where we're going is still a struggle in rural. So there is a great collaboration of our county, of our town, of the city of Medicine Hat, of the county, Cypress County, all working together to how do we address those things. And I think it's through that continued collaboration with organizations like Verge and chatting with the Community Foundation that continues to grow all of our communities together. So I'm hoping that's what you were looking for. and if it's not, complain to Teresa. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you to Shauna, Franco, Brianne, and Karina for those insightful and thought-provoking messages and stories about our community, the economy, and mental health. So based on the 2023 vital signs data and trends that were collected, the following focus areas will be CFSEA's grant priorities for the upcoming year: connection and belonging, work and economy, and basic needs, including housing, food, and health. We hope today and this event and publication will help spark conversation at your workplace, at home, and in your community. We invite you to engage in more conversations, share your insights, and contribute your ideas to help create a better region for everyone. As for next steps, we're super excited to share that we have received a grant to further our work in the rural communities across Southeast Alberta to help identify their unique needs and opportunities. Our vision through this work is to help support economic growth, provide charitable capacity building, and to ensure the rural region of Southeast Alberta does not go underserved. To begin this process, we will be hosting vital conversations in communities across the region, including the cities of Medicine Hat and Brooks, in the spring and summer of 2024. Please stay connected to learn more and get involved. Your voices and experiences play an important role in supporting our communities. Thank you again to our Vital Signs Committee and staff, volunteers, and our incredible donors or sponsors. This event would not have been made possible without your help. And thank you all for attending. Have a great day.